Final Fantasy XIV hits record concurrent player counts, Zenless Zone Zero smashes download numbers, and EA Sports FC 2025's release date. All today on TouchPad. Hello and welcome to Cross Circle Squared. I am Benny Girkman and this is TouchPad, your daily video game news show. You can watch TouchPad live every day at 1 p.m. EST or here on YouTube or Spotify right after. But no matter where or how you're watching, it's time for the news. And first off for today, Final Fantasy XIV has hit a record number of concurrent players after the release of the Dawntrail expansion. In a blog post on the Final Fantasy XIV website, the game's producer, Naoki Yoshida, stated that the game has reached their highest number of concurrent player counts since the release of A Realm Reborn. That was in 2013. That was the 2.0 status of the game. Back then, the expansion released around the same time as the PS4 version. Again, it was like the big 2.0 update as well. It was so popular back then that the game literally had to be taken off digital storefronts for a while to be able to handle that influx of players. Wasn't the last time that happened either, since upon the release of Endwalker, a more recent expansion, the team had to do the same thing. But this time, thankfully, there's no big delisting issues for too many players. The game seems to be handling it actually pretty well. Some people commenting that, obviously there's still some server issues, as there almost always is with a big game like this and a new expansion, but, seemingly a lot better than it has been in the past. Steam charts show the game hit a peak of 91,000 players at one time. That's just under the previous record peak of 95,000. I mean, sure, that's nothing like Helldivers 2's peak of, like 500K or whatever, but I mean, this is a game that officially came out 14 years ago, so it's certainly a success to celebrate. In that aforementioned blog post, Yoshida mentioned that they'll be adding, of course, adjustments to certain jobs that they announced in there. They listed out different different in-game jobs that they'll be making some changes to, and said that soon they'll be announcing some patches and some fixes that we can expect in the coming weeks, as well as hopefully some fixes for issues that the Xbox version has been having specifically. But otherwise, Dawntrail looks like a big success for the game, even as, again, it's nearing 15 years of age. It's not a small deal for a game to last that long and still be this successful. And it might be getting more popular even, as according to a leaker on the Xputer forums, Final Fantasy XIV might be seeing a mobile port at some point. Though, as always, grain of salt with that, it's a rumor. But again, a mobile port, I don't know, they're not sure if it's going to be like an actual full throttle mobile port of the console version into a mobile version, or if we're going to see like, a Final Fantasy XV Pocket Edition kind of thing, but it is at least supposedly in the works. Another game that's on mobile and also seeing a ton of success is Zenless Zone Zero, and the devs took to Twitter Saturday to announce that the game has reached 50 million downloads. That's not concurrent players, that's downloads. So a bit of an unfair battle if you're just looking at the two numbers compared to Final Fantasy XIV in that regard. But yeah, I mean, this game is hugely successful, I think, as we all kind of guaranteed it was going to be. And for this success, the devs will be handing out gifts of 1,600 Polychrome, which is a character currency that you use to gamble in the game. You could spin the lottery. If you're one of those big anime waifu gamblers, you get some free gambling out of this. So I'm sure that's popular if you're a big Zenless Zone Zero fan. David, I'm sure, hyped about the 3 free anime women he'll get with this 1,000 credits. But if you are into video game gambling, man, do I have some more great news for you. Since EA Sports FC 25, the second edition or game in the predecessor series to FIFA, will be reportedly launching in September. Very trustworthy leaker Bill Kuhn understands that the game will release on September 27th this year, with a similar price and edition structure to last year's release, likely also releasing on last-gen consoles as well. Got to get those sales in. Got to get those microtransaction gambling bucks in. With the full announcement hopefully coming in less than 10 days, according to them, we're definitely soon to see more on the next very, very profitable title. Again, these are all rumors, so grain of salt, but I mean, it is Bilbo Kuhn. They're almost never wrong, and if it does end up being incorrect, it's usually because something has changed by the time that they've leaked it. So I think it's definitely a very high percentage chance of this coming out on September 27th. Okay, let's go to our last big story for the day, and that's the next Bioshock, and it's reportedly ramping up in production. Jeff Spoonhauer, senior cinematic designer over at 2K, announced with a link to over 30 jobs that the team is hiring for, saying that they have many positions open as they are ramping up on this awesome project. This game is being developed by 2K Cloud Chamber, which is a new studio, basically specifically spun up for the next Bioshock game. They have a few original Bioshock vets there. At the very least, the timeline for this does seem to make sense. The studio's creation was announced late 2019, early 2020, so give them a year or two to set things up, enter pre-production, get things rolling for another year or two, and they're probably starting the main bit of production on the game now, meaning we'll likely see this game 2026, 2027, maybe we'll see like a trailer or something next year. But again, that's if I had to guess. I don't have any insider information on that. Okay, let's go to some smaller stories now. And we have, unfortunately, more bad news in the games industry. This is via The Guardian. Kotaku, Gizmodo, and others will no longer have an Australian branch. These publications are published by a company under the name of Pedestrian, and they're going through some restructuring, leading to them cutting Australian external publishing. This has led to employees at Vice, Kotaku, Gizmodo, and a few others, unfortunately, finding themselves out of a job. In a very rare moment of a small amount of accountability, the company's CEO will also exit and allow someone else to step in as the company lays off about 40 of their current 95 employees. Just a few months ago, they laid off like another 90 employees, so definitely some difficult financial times over there. Just kind of quitting your job and probably going on to your next CEO role isn't the most accountability that's possible, but it's certainly a step up from most of these other companies. So, I got to give them a thumbs up for that, at least. Additionally, more jobs will be lost as Piranha Bytes. They'll be shuttering, according to Eurogamer. Piranha Bytes was the developer behind the Gothic series, as well as Elex. This is another Embracer Group pickup that we now find closing their doors and cutting off jobs. Two members of studio leadership seem to have split off to create their own indie studio, Pithead Games, so all the best to them, and I hope everyone else there can land on their feet as well. Okay, let's talk about some delays and some releases. City Skylines 2's console ports have been indefinitely delayed. That game has been swamped by technical and optimizational issues since its launch on PC, so I imagine the console ports are probably suffering a similar issue. In terms of actual releases, though, nothing specifically today, but basketball will drop onto Nintendo Switch Sports. You guys excited for basketball? Everyone eating up Nintendo Switch Sports? I make fun of it, but that game has sold like 13 million copies, so I can't be too harsh on it. Tomorrow also sees the release of Once Human. That's a NetEase multiplayer game joint, as well as Lifeless Moon, but we'll talk about those more tomorrow. Otherwise, that is all the news for the day. Thanks for coming in and watching live or afterwards. I appreciate both. But that is all I've got for you. As always, I am Benny Girkman. This is Cross Circle Squared, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.